Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Culture Shock, the show where nonsense just goes to a whole new level. Well, it's Monday, so you know what that means. We're about to be onslaughted with a ton of just wild and outrageous shit happening in 2020, which we are now more than halfway through. I'm just saying we should probably just finish this year off and just kind of not look back. I mean, it's just been so crazy and insane. So get ready for Monday because Monday today is going to be a wild ride. I can tell you that much for sure. But I'm not going to be talking about this week just yet. I'm actually going to go back a few days and kind of pick your brains for a little while and kind of go over a few things. So I was looking online. I want to say maybe about Wednesday last week, on Twitter, social media, and a poll by the New York Post came out suggesting that America is more racist than it was during the Obama administration. So I kind of looked at that and I'm asking myself, how? They don't really explain how, but what would you expect from media outlets like the New York Post, New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN? I mean, they're trying to push this narrative that America is like 10 times more racist than it was during the Obama era or than it was 60, 70 years ago. And it's just not true. So before we jump into this topic, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, share, and comment. I've been getting a lot of great feedback on these videos, so I'm just going to keep on going. If you have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. I would like to hear everyone's opinion, whether you're left or right, black, white, Martian, giraffe. I really don't care. If you have an opinion, go ahead and throw it down in the comment section below. All right. So without further ado, let's kind of get started with this article, and it is quite a doozy. I don't know if this is recording. Is it recording? Yes, it's recording. Sorry about that, guys. So this article comes from the New York Post. Is a majority of U.S. voters believe American society is racist. Now, if you're claiming that America is racist right now in 2020, then you probably haven't experienced true racism in its original form. The definition of racism today is not what racism is. So anybody who's telling you anything differently, racism is the superiority of one race over another. Plain and simple, period. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. Saying that I am colorblind is not being racist. Saying I disagree with you is not being racist. Having a different opinion than you does not make me racist, folks. Let's just kind of get this out of the water because ever since Trump got elected, all of this is people yelling back and forth, and it's from the left and the right saying, you're racist, no, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist, you're more racist, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist. And it's getting very, very tiring, if I do say so myself. It's just, that's the comeback for most disagreements everywhere on social media. Now, again, you can't use Twitter and social media, Facebook as a medium to kind of view the world how it is through those mediums. You can't, because the world isn't like that. There's actually some very fine people out there. It's the shitty ones who hide out on social media just to kind of stir the pot and cause trouble by doing shit like this. Because let's be real, if this was happening in real life, if social media was a real thing that was every day, no one would be acting like this. Before social media, there was nothing like this. And I guess you might be thinking, well, hey, the racists could have hid it in plain sight. Yeah, they could have, and I would prefer if they still hid in plain sight, which most of them do via social media. So it's not really a problem to me. Actually, if you're a racist person, that has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. You being racist is not going to affect how I sleep at night. And I think a lot of people need to get on that kind of mindset that because someone else is racist, that has no effect or any type of control over your life and what you want to do. Oh, I can't write a book because so and so said something racist to me. No, that sounds more like an excuse rather than you trying to actually write a book. I mean, think about that. And before we kind of go further, let's just kind of shift the paradigm a bit. What if it's not racist people? Stick with me, guys. I'm going somewhere with this. Hang on. What if it's not racist people, but just shitty people doing shitty things? Shift that paradigm for a second. Just kind of think. And as we go through this article, kind of just keep that in the back of your head. All right. So, majority of U.S. voters believe American society is racist. And he took a poll. I'm not really sure where they got their data from. I'm actually really curious as to where they got their data from. So hopefully this article will tell us. And as always, guys, all of my sources will be in the link below in the comment section. Go down there, check it out for yourself. I also post a related article from NBC News, because why not? And you guys can kind of go down there and compare notes if you want to do that. All right, so here we go. The majority of U.S. voters think American society is racist, a new poll found. I've never heard of this poll. Whenever someone like this, like a news outlet, does a poll, I never hear about it. So I really don't know if this is real, because I would like to take part in this vote, to be honest. But let's continue. 56% of registered voters surveyed in Wall Street Journal NBC News poll said they consider American society to be racist, while 71% said they think race relations in the country are either very bad or fairly bad, up from 55% in February. Now, I agree with that second statement. 71% said the race relations in the country are either very bad or fairly bad. That is very true. Right now, it is insane that this is going on. Like 70 years after Martin Luther King got us the Civil Rights Act of 1964, I don't think if he were alive today, he'd look around and be like, what the hell happened? What's going on? Yeah, race relations are really bad. I really don't know why, to be honest. Again, not racism. Keep it in the back of your head. What if it's just shitty people? Okay? Moving on. The poll, conducted nearly 2 months after the police custody death of George Floyd, also found growing support for the Black Lives Matter movement and for kneeling during the national anthem by professional athletes. Americans are concerned about issues of inequality. Okay, I keep on hearing inequality being thrown around. Can someone please point out where the inequality has happened? Please, I would like to know, because inequality is pretty much a subjective term today. It does not mean what it meant back in the 40s and 50s for African Americans. It does not. Inequality means that so-and-so makes more money over here than I do, but then I didn't go to high school and he went to college. That is unequal, yes, but maybe that might be based on personal life decisions, that maybe you didn't make the greatest decision. Look, guys, if you don't want to feel oppressed in America, you do 3 things. Graduate from high school, don't have kids outside of marriage, get a job. That's it. Recipes for success. Boom. You're done. You do that, you're okay. All right? Where was I? Americans are concerned about the issues of inequality, and George Floyd's death and helped contribute to that. A pollster, Brenda Lee, who worked on a survey. I don't know who these people are, but I'm really skeptical about this survey. We've moved the needle a great deal in terms of just clearly identifying that we, as Americans, have an issue with racism today. But is it really racism? You're throwing this around like it is being tossed around like it's fact. Are you sure, 100% sure, that is just not the decision-making process of most individuals? Because when you throw racism in there, you're kind of grouping a whole people in who's trying to attack another group of people, yet this sounds like more of an individual thing. Like George Floyd, again, didn't deserve to die. I can't say that enough, all right? But they didn't release the full story. He had drugs in his system. I don't know if he was high at the time, but fentanyl was found in his system. Whether that it was 2 days ago or before or during the altercation with Derek Chauvin, we don't know. So there's a lot of factors that went into George Floyd being killed. Again, I'm not condoning the actions of Derek Chauvin. That dude's a piece of shit, and I hope he rots in jail. But to kind of go off and just say, oh, it was a white cop who killed a black man, racism. I don't know. You kind of, in my head, have to kind of contribute a lot of factors that went into that. Again, not condoning George Floyd being murdered by Derek Chauvin. I mean, that's a bad thing, super bad thing. But in my head, there's a lot of factors that kind of go into that, all right? Shitty people. George Zimmerman, another one, shitty guy. Trayvon Martin shouldn't have died, but there was a lot of factors that went into that altercation that the media just failed to ignore. I mean, failed to bring to light and ignore blatantly. So, racism, clearly. Keep in mind that George Zimmerman was called white guy for months until they finally figured out that he was actually half Hispanic. So then that kind of flew out the window. They weren't really calling him racist after that. You see how that works? Doesn't really, fit the narrative anymore. Moving on. Almost 60% of those surveyed said Black people are discriminated against, while just over 50% said the same of Hispanics. Okay, 60% of those. Now, who are these people? Are they white liberals? Because if they're white liberals, and you're only testing white liberals or you're giving them the survey, then you're kind of missing off a huge portion of the population, because that sounds like 60% of people, that sounds like something a white liberal would say. Yeah, I feel that so-and-so feels discriminated because he's black. Yeah, because they all say that. Did you ask any white conservative? What about black conservatives? Did you ask any Hispanic conservatives? Did you ask any Asians? Did you ask anybody? You just said 60% of those surveyed. You're not specifying who surveyed. Now, I could be wrong. It probably could have jumped up in another article that I didn't find. If you know what that article is, I would like to see who are the 60% of people that surveyed that black people are discriminated against. Just saying. But a stark divide was found along party lines. At 90% of Democrats said blacks in America face discrimination, of course, compared to 26% of Republicans who agreed. Now, were those Republicans moderate? Were they far right? Who knows? I mean, again, this is actually very vague information from the data in which they're trying to kind of convey to me. So I don't really know, to be honest, but this seems like one of those things that they're trying to push going forward. The split was also evident within the question of whether U.S. society is racist, with 82% of Democrats affirming, nearly triple portion of Republicans, 30%, who said the same. I'm just going to reiterate what I said before. Who are these people? You said 82% of Democrats, while 30% of Republicans. And you have that 30% kind of written in there a little weird. So I don't really trust your data here. Regarding the protest sparked by Floyd's killing, 57% of voters said they support ongoing demonstrations, compared to 32% who said they do not. Separately, 58% of those surveyed said they're more concerned with racial inequality as a result of the protest, the poll found. You have to tell me what inequality you're talking about here. You really do. And you also have to look into, like I said before, is that inequality due to systemic racism, or is it due to personal decision making? Those are two very big things. If you don't graduate from high school, you're not going to get a very good paying job. If you don't go to college and get a degree, you're not going to get a very good paying job. If you spend money frivolously, you're going to have a bad credit score versus the man or woman over here who saves their money and acts responsibly, that you can buy a house. But overall, about half of voters said they see Black Lives Matter movement in a positive light. I don't see Black Lives Matter movement in a positive light, to be honest. I just don't. There's been so many people of color, and I hate using that term. I said ethnic background. I'm going to start using ethnic background. People of ethnic backgrounds have died since these protests have started. Where's Black Lives Matter? Most of the people who did the killing were part of Black Lives Matter, so it doesn't make sense to me. An increase from 38% just 4 years ago, broken down by race, 76% of Black voters who held that view, compared to 42% of white voters who held that view. Sorry, my computer screen might have went out. There it is, never mind. Let me read that sentence again. Broken down by race, 76% of Black voters held that view. Of course they did. Compared to 42% of white voters, according to the poll. Okay, so you got to break down the demographics. Where were these Black voters? What social societal groups were they in? Subcultures? Where were they? Same with the white people. You have to break this down. You just can't loop all of these people together, because an urban Black family will say something different about Black Lives Matter versus a suburban Black family who probably doesn't view Black Lives Matter the same as family A. That is how it is, okay? A shift was also found in the number of Americans who believe it's appropriate for professional athletes to kneel during the national anthem, as former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick first did in 2016 to protest police brutality. Okay, if you're listening to athletes in Hollywood about how you should vote, don't, because no. These people get paid millions of dollars to throw a ball around and make movies. And they want to talk to you about you being oppressed. These people are not oppressed. They make millions of dollars. They are the least oppressed people in our entire society. So listening to them about oppression seems a bit out of focus, if I do say so myself. A slight majority of U.S. voters, 52% now, support taking a knee, up from 42% 2 years ago. No, I don't know if that's accurate, to be honest. I don't know. Again, where are these voters coming from? Again, I did not get an invite to partake in this poll. Where are you getting this polling information, and how are you distributing this poll? I don't know. In contrast, 45% said they still believe kneeling is inappropriate, of course, according to the poll, which surveyed 900 registered voters from July 9th to July 12th, and has a margin of error plus or minus 3.27 percent points. Okay, so you might have should have thrown that in there before this whole article. You took 900 registered voters compared to over 300 million Americans. Wait, how many people live in America? Because I don't even know. I want to say how many American population. 328.2 million. That's how many people live in America. You took 900 registered voters and asked them these questions. Yeah, that's not even a percent of people. That's less than half of less than half of a percent. Dude, what? You can't go ahead and take a poll from 900 voters. That's fucking stupid. But then again, I did do a poll on Twitter that cast about 112 votes. But that's Twitter, okay? That's different. You're talking about if you're talking about a very serious topic here, and you're only taking 900 registered voters. I mean, if you're going to really kind of prove a point here, I would maybe garner about 10% of the population and have them vote on whether or not America is racist today than it was during the Obama era. All right, so that's the article. I don't know if there's more. It looks like just ads going on from here. Yeah, and that's what it looks like. Cool. So if you want to read the article for yourself, it will be in the description. So go ahead and check that out if you want to see. So going back to what this article is trying to dictate, to me, in my opinion, is not very accurate, to be honest. I think you're going to need to take a few more people. But do you think America is truly racist right now? Now, obviously, I'm conservative. I vote right. Okay, bleed red, bleed it. And my grandmother, who is obviously a Democrat, we have our opposing conversations all the time. I love debating with this woman because this woman lived through the civil rights. She was there before the Civil Rights Act and happened. Before all that happened, the level of racism and discrimination that my grandmother and her generation experienced has no level of competence in 2020. I asked her, I go, Grandma, do you think that America is racist today in 2020 than it was 60, 70 years ago? And she said, no, she doesn't. But she's experienced that level of racism and seeing what's happening now. Of course, she's for it because she has lived it. Again, 2020 culture, 60, 70 years ago culture, people who have seen it for their own eyes. But we live in a completely different society. The culture gap between me and her is extremely vast. Her perception on how the reality works and what her reality is vastly different from my reality and the way I see things. I don't think America is as racist as what these polls and what everyone else is saying. Absolutely not. Because if it was racist, one, we wouldn't have elected a black president twice unanimously at all. Second, people like the AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, you got elected during the Trump administration, and you're still claiming that this administration is the most racist administration ever. Yet you still got elected to Congress. So for you to say that America is racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic, whatever, when you got elected, then you're out of your mind. You're absolutely crazy to think that. So when I saw this article last week, I decided to do a poll on Twitter to kind of get an idea of where people's minds are. Now, I don't have like tens of thousands of followers on Twitter or anything like that, but I do have a pretty wide reach of people who do like what I post, and I welcome everyone. So I did this poll on Twitter back on the 23rd, which I think was probably Thursday, Wednesday, just kind of get an idea. And I asked, honest question, do you feel that under the Trump administration, America is more racist than it was during the Obama administration? And the results were 82% said absolutely not, while 18% agreed with yes, it is. And that was from 129 votes. Again, not a lot of people, but the message does kind of speak for itself that a majority of people don't believe America is racist. But here was an actual nice twist that someone pointed out to me. Someone said, and I'm going to keep them unanimous because I don't know if their names want to be mentioned in this video, but they said to me, they go, I think America is racist, but it's not coming from the right to the left. It's the left who is being the most racist people in 2020. And when I think about that, and I think about that perspective, I go, huh. Now, if I believe that the left, rather than just being radical, is racist people running around trying to start race wars, then yeah, according to that perspective, yeah, America would be more racist because the people who are fighting racism are actually being the racists in this context. Makes perfect sense. Okay. Now, when you think about that perspective and kind of take it to 2020, yeah, I mean, America is racist if you want to go ahead and use that as a way to kind of say that America is racist. But this article never said who is racist against who. They said inequality, inequality from who? Black to white, white to black, Hispanic to Asian, Asian to black, black to white. They never specified. So, kind of crazy here, okay? But what if what they're saying is that America is racist, but the racist people are on the left, and it's not about Orange Man bad. Imagine that. Kind of tweak you a little bit, kind of wow. But also keep in mind that, again, shitty people, not racism. What if it's shitty people? Who knows? But it was very interesting that someone brought that up because most people have experienced a lot of racism from the left. Me included, mostly from other black people and racist white liberals. And I'm not going to call them racist white liberals. I'm just going to say white liberals who are telling me that I need to be oppressed because I look a different color. No. I mean, if you believe that I should be oppressed because I have a different skin tone than you, that sounds a bit racist. And if you look at all the videos from Chop Chats, how they created those little segregated areas for ethnic people, people with ethnic backgrounds and stuff like that, that's a little racist. I mean, you can try and hide up the subtlety by saying, "Oh, we're fighting racism with racism," but that's not racism is racism. Period. There's no in between. There's no like masking it up. Like racist shit is racist shit no matter what the cause. And if you're talking about you're gonna be racist because the end justify the means, because Orange Man bad, then you're kind of contaminating your cause here. Okay, so that's not how that works. All right, so guys, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'm working on a podcast, so all of this, all the videos that I'm doing are going to be in audio format that you can go on Spotify and other places where you listen to your podcast and listen to it on the go, listen to it at work, however, whatever you see fit. If you can't catch the video version of this on YouTube. So I'm pretty sure once I hit about the numbers to kind of get monetized, this channel will be demonetized. So I'm just sort of waiting for it because, you know, YouTube is fucking YouTube. But hey, guys, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do more videos like this. Keep it to about 2 to 3 new releases a week on various topics. And I scrolled through Twitter tonight and I saw some pretty wild stuff happening across the country. If you know me, I don't get on social media during the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sundays, I'm usually just hanging with my wife, playing video games or working on my comic book project that I got going on. So I normally don't get on Twitter. So if you don't see me on Twitter or anything like that on the weekends, you know why. I need a break. I think everyone needs a mental break from social media every few days. If you're on it nonstop, put your phone down, take a breather, go do something else. There's a lot of cool stuff out there happening. So that's my advice to you if you want to kind of keep the sanity within your head, because I know, like I said, today's Monday, and it's going to be a lot of shit happening this week. I can tell you that much. So, folks, again, thank you guys for watching. And, of course, hit that subscribe button for, like, the 10th time and share this video out to your friends and family. I am Will at Heroic Studios, and I will see you guys next time on another episode of Culture Shock. Have a good week, folks.